My child, come, sit with me for a moment. Hush the noise of the world, quiet the frantic beating of your own heart, and just listen. I know the sound of your soul's deepest cry, for I am the one who wove your soul into being. It is a song I know by heart, a melody of longing for the miraculous. You yearn to see my power move in your finances, in your body, in your home, in your future. You look at the mountains of impossibility that stand before you and you plead for me to cast them into the sea. And yet, so often, you feel your prayers echo back from an empty heaven, and the mountain does not move. Let me whisper a truth into the deepest part of your spirit, a truth that can change everything in this very hour. The silence you perceive is not my absence. The delay you experience is not my denial. My love for you is more vast than the cosmos, my power more immediate than your next breath. In my eyes, you are not a beggar pleading for scraps, but a beloved child standing on the threshold of your inheritance. The reason the miracle seems so far is not because I am withholding it, but because of a simple, fundamental misunderstanding of how my kingdom operates. Imagine you are standing before a great ancient door. You believe with all your heart that behind this door lies the answer to your prayers, the provision, the healing, the peace you so desperately seek. And so you pound on it. You push with all your strength, your shoulder aching, your voice raw from crying out, "Open! Why won't you open for me?" You weep in frustration, convinced that the door is barred and locked against you. But my child, the door is not locked. It was never locked. And it does not open outward. It opens inward. All this time, you have been leaning against it with the full weight of your fear, your anxiety, your own plans, and your past disappointments. You have been inadvertently holding shut the very door you are begging me to open. The miracle you seek is waiting on the other side of that door, and the key is not to push harder, but to simply step back, to surrender the pushing, and allow it to swing open towards you. Your miracle begins not with a bang, but with a release. You cry out to me for a miracle of provision. You see the bills piling up like a tidal wave and the resources dwindling to a few dry grains of sand. You pray for a flood of abundance, for a lottery win, for a forgotten inheritance to suddenly appear. You want me to rain down gold from the havens, and my heart aches with yours, for I am the God of more than enough, the owner of the cattle on 1,000 hills. My storehouses are never bare. But while you pray for my abundance, you clutch your last few coins in a fist of terror. Your entire posture is one of scarcity and fear. You look at your pantry and see only what is lacking, and this perception becomes a wall that my provision cannot easily penetrate. I place an opportunity before you. A neighbor mentions they have nothing for dinner. A quiet nudge in your spirit prompts you to share the little you have. But the voice of fear screams louder. You can't. You have barely enough for yourself. If you give that away, you will have nothing. And so you pull back, you close your hand and your heart, and you turn away, reasoning that you must secure your own survival first. My beloved, in that moment of turning away, you have just pushed the door of provision firmly shut. You do not understand. The miracle of multiplication is not a spectator sport. It is a participatory event. It is activated by the very act of giving from your place of lack. When you, in faith, open your hand and release the little you have, you are creating a vacuum that my infinite supply rushes to fill. The miracle was not in the bread and fish I once multiplied. It was in the boy's willingness to give up his lunch. He gave me his 5 loaves and 2 fish, and I gave him back 12 baskets full of leftovers. The miracle happens in the 𝐆𝐃 𝐒𝐃𝐒, our frightened trust for my limitless faithfulness. Step back from the door of fear. Open your hand. Give a cup of cold water. Share a small portion of your meal. Tithe from a place of trust, not from a place of surplus. In that single act of obedient generosity, You will feel the door swing inward, and the gentle breeze of my provision will begin to flow into your life. You'll pray for a miracle in your career, for a door of opportunity to swing open to a job that gives you purpose and stability. You feel stuck, overlooked, and forgotten. You send your prayers upward, asking me to move the heart of a hiring manager, to create a vacancy just for you. Yet, you sit back and wait for the miracle to land in your lap like a package delivered to your porch. You refuse to take that online course to update your skills, believing it's a waste of money you don't have. You neglect to polish your resume one more time, thinking, what's the point? No one will hire me anyway. You choose to sleep an extra hour instead of rising to seek with fresh determination, your spirit weighed down by the belief that all your effort is pointless. Do you not see the misalignment? My miracle is not a substitute for your action. It is a catalyst within your action. I do not drop manna from the heavens upon a sleeping camp. I provide it for those who are awake, who rise at dawn, and who go out to gather what I have already provided. The miracle is woven into the fabric of your obedience to move your feet. I will not do for you what I have empowered you to do for yourself. I have given you a mind to learn, hands to work, and a spirit to persevere. When you use these gifts, you are partnering with me. Every application you send out in faith, every skill you learn with diligence, every connection you make with courage is you stepping back from the door of apathy. You are showing me that you are ready to walk through the door I am preparing to open. The miracle is not the job offer itself. The miracle is the divine appointment that occurs when your diligent preparation intersects with my sovereign opportunity. Take one small step today. Enroll in that class. Make that phone call. Send that email. Act as if you believe I am working on your behalf, and you will find that I have been waiting for your movement all along. You ask for a miracle in your body. The pain is real. The diagnosis is frightening. The weakness is overwhelming. You pray with fervor for healing to surge through your veins and restore you to wholeness. You anoint with oil and have others pray over you. These things are good and right. But my child, look deeper. While you pray for me to rebuild your physical temple, you simultaneously fill it with the poisons of worry and anxiety. You allow bitterness against those who have hurt you to fester in your soul, a spiritual cancer that has physical consequences. You nourish your body with foods that weaken it and engage in habits that destroy it. You are asking me to repair a precious vessel while you continue to strike it against the sharp rocks of self-neglect and emotional turmoil. The miracle of physical healing is almost always preceded by a miracle of inner peace. It begins the very moment you choose to step back from the door of anxiety. It starts right now when you make a conscious decision to release the fear of the diagnosis, the worry about the future, the bitterness from the past. Surrender the illness completely to me. This is not a surrender of resignation, of giving up. It is a surrender of profound trust, placing the outcome entirely in my loving hands. When you do this, you create a space within you, a holy, quiet place where my healing power can begin its work. It may not be an instantaneous flash of light. More often, it is the slow, steady, miraculous rebuilding of a single cell, then another, then a tissue, then an organ. This physical process is fueled by a spiritual alignment, as your spirit begins to agree with the truth that in my eyes, you are already healed, already whole. Let go of the worry. Forgive the old wound. Speak peace to your own soul. This is the first and most crucial step. You are clearing the construction site so that the master builder can begin his work. In your relationships, you beg for a miracle of reconciliation. A bridge has been broken with a spouse, a child, a friend, a parent. The silence is deafening. The chasm seems too wide to cross. You pray passionately for the other person's heart to change. You want them to see their error, to be convicted of their wrongdoing, to come to you with an apology, to restore what was lost. You are focused entirely on the work that needs to be done in them. But my miracle, my beloved, almost never starts with them. It starts with you. It begins in the 5 minutes that you decide to step away from the door of your own righteousness. It begins when you voluntarily choose to dismantle the altar you have built to your own hurt, where you replay the offense over and over, keeping the wound fresh. It begins when you let go of the meticulous record of wrongs you have kept, a ledger written in the ink of pain and pride. You demand justice, but I offer you the far greater gift of mercy. You want me to perform open heart surgery on them, while your own heart is shielded by impenetrable layers of pride and protected by the barbed wire of your pain. My child, open your own heart first. Forgive them. Do it now, not because they have earned it, not because they have asked for it, not even because they deserve it. Forgive them because you deserve the freedom that forgiveness brings. Forgiveness is not about condoning their action. It is about canceling the debt you believe they owe you, releasing you from the role of debt collector. This single act of your will, this choice to unclench the fist of your grievance, is one of the most powerful miracle-working forces in the universe. It instantly changes the spiritual atmosphere around you. It breaks the chains that have bound you to the past. It may not change them today or even tomorrow, but it will change you instantly. And that, my dear one, is the primary miracle I am always working towards, the restoration of you. From there, all other restorations can flow. You feel the sharp ache of loneliness, and you plead for a miracle of companionship. You look at the empty chairs at your table. You scroll through endless images of other papless happy gatherings, and your heart sinks into a deep well of isolation. You compare your solitude with their apparent community and feel a profound sense of lack. But look closely at your own actions. You are staring at a glowing screen, a phantom world, while a real world full of potential connections passes you by. The miracle of connection is waiting for you to look up. It is waiting for you to step back from the door of self-pity and comparison. The miracle is not found, it is built. It is built one small, courageous brick at a time. It is found in the decision you make in the next 5 minutes to put down your phone and walk to a park instead of pacing your living room. It is in the simple, brave act of offering a genuine smile to the cashier at the grocery store. It is in the courage to start a conversation with the person standing next to you in line, asking about their day. It is in the strength to say yes to an invitation that your fear and inertia would normally lead you to decline. I am constantly placing people in your path, potential friends, kindred spirits, souls who also feel lonely. But your gaze is so often downcast, focused on the shadow of what you don't have, that you step right over the opportunities I lay at your feet. Community is not a destination you arrive at. It is a structure you build. Start laying a brick now. Take one tiny risk. Reach out in one small way. That is how the miracle of belonging begins. You desire a miracle of purpose. You feel adrift in a meaningless sea, your life a series of random events without a connecting thread. You cry out for a sign, a heavenly billboard with your name and next steps illuminated in neon lights. You stand at a crossroads, paralyzed, waiting for a booming voice from the clouds to tell you which way to turn. But my child, I have already given you a compass. It is not external. It is built into the very core of your being. That compass is the collection of your passions, your unique skills, the things that bring you joy, the injustices that make you righteously angry. It is the quiet nudges of your spirit that gently urge you toward a certain kind of work, a particular way of serving. A miracle of direction is not granted to those who are standing still. It is granted to those who are already moving. You must trust the compass you have and take one step. It does not have to be a giant leap. A trembling, uncertain step is more than enough. Take a step in the direction that feels most aligned with the love and the gifts I have placed within you. Start writing that first page. Volunteer for that cause that stirs your heart. Enroll in that one class that sparks your curiosity. As you begin to move, I will adjust your course. The path is not illuminated a mile ahead. It is like a lamp to your feet, lighting up just enough ground for the next step and then the next. Your decision in this moment to take a single small action is the spark that ignites the engine of your destiny. Step back from the door of paralysis. Take one step. I will meet you there and show you the next. The greatest blockage to every miracle you seek is the fortress of self-reliance you have spent a lifetime building. You pray for me to act, but then you spend all your waking hours devising your own strategies, trying to manipulate outcomes, and attempting to force open doors that I have not opened for you. You come to me with your detailed blueprint for your life and ask me to sign off on it and bless it, rather than coming to me with a blank page and asking for my divine design. You are like a small child who brings me a hopelessly tangled ball of string, full of knots she has tied herself, and demands that I instantly fashion it into a beautiful necklace, all the while refusing to let go of the tangled mess. My miracle requires your complete surrender. This is the hardest part. It requires you to release the tangled, knotted mess of your life into my hands and trust that my artistry and wisdom can create something far more beautiful and magnificent than you could ever imagine. This surrender is not passivity or laziness. It is the most active and powerful state of faith possible. It is engaging every particle of your being in the unwavering trust that I am who I say I am, that I love you boundlessly, and that my plans for you are for good and not for disaster. It is the conscious choice to stop leaning on the door. It is to take a full step back, take your hands off of it, and watch in wonder as it swings open on its own. And what of your words? You pray for a miracle of abundance, but then you walk around all day speaking of your poverty. You ask for healing, and then you describe your sickness in great detail to anyone who will listen. You pray for victory, but you narrate your imminent defeat. Your words are not merely sounds that dissipate into the air. They are creative forces. They are the timber and nails with which you are constantly building the reality you inhabit. When you say, "I'll never get out of this debt," you are constructing the walls of a debtor's prison around yourself. When you declare, "This situation is impossible," you are laying a heavy, immovable stone across your own path. The miracle begins in your mouth. In this very moment, you have a choice. You can continue to narrate the problem, giving it power and substance, or you can begin to declare the solution even before you see it. Speak my promises over your life. Speak gratitude for the miracle that is already in motion in the unseen realm. Speak hope when you feel despair. Speak life into the dead places. This is not mere positive thinking. This is supernatural agreement. It is using the creative authority I have given you as my child to call forth those things which are not as though they were, just as I did when I spoke the world into existence. Align your words with my word and watch how the atmosphere begins to shift. You look at the stories of old and you see the spectacle. You see the Red Sea rolled back like a scroll. You see the walls of Jericho crumbling at the sound of a shout. You see the sun standing still in the sky. You see these awesome, undeniable acts of power, and you want that for yourself. But my child, you are seeing only the final, crashing chord of the symphony. You are missing the long, patient, and often silent movements that preceded it. When Moses stood at the bank of the Red Sea, with the chariots of Pharaoh thundering behind him and an impossible sea before him, that was not the beginning of the miracle. That was the culmination. The miracle began 40 years earlier in the lonely 𝐆𝐻𝐃, where he learned humility tending sheep. It was forged in the fires of failure and the silence of waiting. When I told him to lift his staff, the miracle was not in the wood of the staff. The miracle was in the moment of his trembling obedience. His faith, cultivated over decades, was the conductor's baton that allowed my power to flow. The timing was perfect because his preparation was finally complete. When Joshua and the Israelites marched around Jericho for 6 silent days, they were not just walking. With every step, they were dismantling the fortress of their own logic. With every silent lap, they were building a new fortress of trust in a command that made no sense to the human mind. The miracle was not the shout on the 7th day. The miracle was the disciplined obedience of the 6 days that came before. The shout was merely the release of the faith that had been painstakingly built. The timing was perfect because their trust was finally mature enough to receive a victory that could only be attributed to me. When my son stood before the tomb of Lazarus, he had deliberately waited. He allowed hope to die. He allowed the situation to become, by all human standards, utterly and completely impossible. He waited until the stench of decay had set in, so that when he called, "Lazarus, come forth," no one could ever say it was a trick or a swoon. The healing of a sick man would have been a great miracle. The raising of a man 4 days dead was a declaration of his very identity as the resurrection and the life. The timing was perfect because it was designed not just to restore one man, but to reveal my glory to all humankind for all time. And so it is with you. Your 5 minutes are not a countdown on a clock. They are a quantum shift in your spirit. It is the moment, this moment right now, that you finally stop pushing and step back. It is the moment you release your white-knuckled grip of fear and open your hand in generosity. It is the moment you stop waiting for a sign and take one small step of faith. It is the moment you choose to forgive, to release anxiety, to speak life. This is the moment your miracle begins. The power is here. The provision is ready. The healing is available. The love has always been yours. Step back from the door, my beloved child. Turn around and fall into my arms. Let me lead you through the entrance you have been blocking all this time. The way is open. Come, walk with me into the reality of my promises. It is and always has been the perfect time. Amen.